Splatoon 2. Let's talk about that. So, on July 21st, 2017, Splatoon 2 will be released. I hope everybody with a Nintendo Switch gives it a chance and picks it up. And if you don't have a Nintendo Switch, I hope it's on your list, honestly. But we're here to talk about the Splatfest. The Splatoon 2, basically beta, you know. It was the beta for Splatoon 2. I'm glad they did this so that way they could kind of test their online servers and make sure that they're up to speed and they're ready for launch day. Splatfests are basically like, a left versus right, red versus blue. It's basically just like you pick a side and that's your team for the duration of that event. Sometimes I think they had special items, for the winners and stuff like that, but this one was just the beta one, and it was Team Ice Cream versus Team Cake. So basically, you picked which one you liked better, and that was the team that you were on. I picked Ice Cream, which was the winning team. Whoop whoop. So I was pretty happy with that choice. But that was awesome. That was the winning team, and the only game that was available was the Turf Wars, which is basically where it's not just about killing the opponents. You're basically you have to cover the most ground. You have to cover the most circumference of the area, or whatever terminology you want to use. Just shoot paint everywhere, really. And I think it's a great casual game because it doesn't just focus on skill. It kind of allows players who maybe aren't as good at the PvP aspect to just kind of run around and paint the ground, or they're still contributing to the team. They're not completely worthless or dead weight. I feel like Nintendo did a fantastic job with this game. When they first announced Splatoon 2, I was a little discouraged. I was a little upset. I was like, why didn't you guys just port over Splatoon 1? Because I felt like that game deserved a larger audience. That game deserved a second chance, and it wasn't going to get that on the Wii U because, well, we all know what happened there. Splatoon was kind of a sleeper hit for a dying console. So I thought it would have made more sense to just port over the first Splatoon and just maybe do a few enhancements, add a few maps, whatever to make it better. But no, Nintendo proved me wrong. They went all out. Splatoon 2 looks amazing. It looks better than Splatoon 1. It's got all the fancy bells and whistles that I feel like, a AAA PS4 or Xbox One game has, but it looks great. Anyone who's like, oh, Nintendo doesn't have graphics, well, Splatoon looks really good. Breath of the Wild looks really good. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe looks really good, and don't tell me Super Mario Odyssey doesn't look good. Nintendo knows what they're doing. They know how to make games on their consoles and make them look great. So, we're getting Splatoon 2, and I like it. It looks great. They offer a lot of variety with the weapons. You got to choose between the little dualies, the little splat rifle, the roller, and I think the charging rifle, which is basically like a sniper rifle, but you have to charge it up for a stronger shot. And I enjoyed playing with the dualies. I thought they were good for like a good quick play style. Like if you want to hide in the paint, if you want to hide in the ink and just kind of zip around and pop up and shoot people and do it in a very quick, fast pace, with a good fire rate. I feel like the dualies will probably be the gun for you. If you're not as good at the multiplayer, if you're not as good at fighting other people, then maybe the roller would be the weapon for you, because you could still contribute to your team and just kind of paint as much ground as you can. And if you come across an enemy, maybe you can kind of get into ink and kind of get around them, or you can get creative with the roller, and I really enjoyed that as well. I didn't spend much time with the splat rifle because that was the weapon I used in Splatoon 1 for a while, and I was like, I know how this one works. But I did also try out the charger rifle, which I think you'll see towards the end of this footage I'm using. And I felt like that gun was really cool. If you time your shots right, you're going to get good kills. And it also has a very wide range. It shoots for the ink. It covers a lot of ground. As for the footage you're seeing, I don't have a capture card for my Switch. I haven't gone about purchasing one yet. These things are a little pricey. So what you're seeing is me just recording some of my screen while I was playing the Splatfest, because I wanted you guys to have some gameplay footage that you could see, while I discuss the game and just talk about how I thought about it and my feelings on it. And you can see the game looks great. It looks fantastic. The colors are really really vibrant. They're really bright. They fit. They're not like overwhelmingly colorful. Like, it looks really good. I feel like Splatoon really gives me a Jet Set Radio vibe. If anybody remembers that game back on the Xbox, it was such a beautiful game, and the art style was very, very much like the one in Splatoon. They have very similar art styles, and I really liked it, and it gives me that little bit of nostalgia factor, even though this is like a brand new IP. I'm sure people who are on the fence with Splatoon have made up their minds by now. You're either going to get the game or you're not after playing the Splatfest. But I will say one of the things that bothered me the most about it were the controls. Like, when you first load it up, at least for me, I'm not going to say that this happens to everybody, because maybe it doesn't. But my personal experience, when you first load up the game, the default controls are motion. And me, I'm not really a fan of the motion controls unless it's a game where it fits. And I don't feel like Splatoon needs motion controls. So I felt like it would have been better if they gave you an option at the beginning instead of just forcing you into the motion controls, and then I had to learn on my own that you had to go into the options to change it to manual, to just traditional gameplay style. And I feel like that may turn away a lot of new people, because not everybody's into the motion. They'll load it up and they'll be like, whoa, why do I have to move the controller to aim? I don't like that. I'm not playing this. So I felt like some kind of on-screen indication that was what you had to do, or maybe just some kind of choice. I'm not really going to fault Nintendo for the strength of the matches. I mean, there was some long wait times in between some of these matches, and it was really odd how some of the matches were same teams against each other. Like, why are two teams from Team Ice Cream fighting? I mean, that's obviously going to contribute to Team Ice Cream winning the overall Splatfest. I mean, there's no loser there. So that was really odd. I assume they were just trying to funnel in players to get matches going as fast as they could. They probably set it up to where, it searches for players of the opposite team, but if it doesn't find them in a certain amount of time, it just, they just probably did whatever works. Like, hey, we'll just Ice Cream versus Ice Cream. Let's just get people playing the game so they can not be frustrated with the wait times. I'm kind of thinking that that's what they did. But a thing that irritated me about this, and maybe some more seasoned Splatoon players can tell me this, but I didn't like how at the end of a match you have the option to either continue or to exit. But should you choose to continue with the same group of players that you were with, you're stuck with your loadout, you're stuck with your gear, you're stuck with the same gun. While you're waiting in that lobby for the next team to be selected, you can't change your gear. You're just kind of sitting there, and I felt like it would have been great for Nintendo to add an option for you to mess with your gear while it's searching for another team to fight against, instead of, maybe you had a really good match with a team that you felt worked out really well, but oh man, maybe I could have contributed a little better if I had the roller, or if I had the dualies, or whatever. But you have to hit exit, so you have to leave that entire party and then select a brand new loadout, and I just felt like that was a really annoying thing for me. I didn't really enjoy that part. But I'm not going to give them a big fault on that, because, it is the beta test. I mean, hopefully that will change. Hopefully that's not something that is normal, because I would hate to have to be stuck with the same loadout time and time and time again without exiting and coming all the way back in. Okay, as I was listening over that part during editing, I thought about something. Maybe when it comes to the loadout change, that's where the app is going to come in. They're releasing the app for iPhones and Androids, where you're able to look at your gear, and I wonder if there's going to be an option while you're playing to change your gear on the app in between matches. That would be really interesting. I think they really need to release more information on this app, even though I know we're not going to get it until the game releases, and we're just going to have to tinker with it and find out. But I just wanted to add that because I thought about that, as I was listening to what I was saying during editing. So I'm not as upset about it. I think that that's probably what's going to happen. But that's only my biggest issue with it was that overall I think the game is really solid. I think they're doing a great job with the marketing, and just I'm seeing Splatoon stuff everywhere, and that makes me happy. I really want this new franchise to succeed, and I'm sure everybody does. I mean, you might not be thinking about it, but as a gamer, I'm getting tired of seeing sequels. I'm getting tired of seeing spin-offs and prequels and inspired by. It's nice to see some new IPs coming out, and I'm trying to support, some of those. Like, I even bought ARMS just so I could support a brand new IP. I wasn't 100% sold on ARMS. I mean, I could do a whole discussion on that one, but I want to support Splatoon 2 because I did play the first one, and I can understand, diehard Splatoon fans are probably like, please, people, buy this game so we can keep this franchise going. It seems Nintendo's really behind it, and, hey, maybe we'll get Splatoon players in Smash Brothers in the future. I could see that happening. They already put them in Mario Kart. I mean, that's pretty awesome, I feel. So, my suggestion is if you're a Nintendo fan, if you're a shooter fan, if you just like fun games, I suggest this game to you. I think you should try it out. I hope this game definitely might not be for everyone, quote unquote, but I definitely think that everyone should give it a shot. That's just my opinion. In closing, I just wanted to try out this format. I've never done it before on my channel, and it kind of reminds me of when I used to do a podcast, and it's kind of fun. I hope you guys are enjoying the gameplay footage, the video, because I feel like it's great to see the game, and I felt like, you're able to kind of get almost a hands-on view of it yourself. If you want to see other videos of me talking about different games, I'm more than willing to try to do it. It's fun to do. I really enjoy talking about it. And, obviously if you're new here, like, share, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. This is fun. I enjoy it. I'm enjoying my adventures with the Lucid Endeavors channel. July 21st, Splatoon 2, Nintendo Switch. I hope everybody checks it out. I'll see you guys in the next video.